Hey, so what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and today I'm going to be bringing you something that I've actually wanted to explore and check out for a while. This is manufacturing mode on the Xbox 360, and I'll tell you all straight up, this is mostly useless. This is really a completely useless application, to be honest, but it kind of piqued my interest for a few reasons. One, it is something that was, internal at Microsoft that they will use when working on Xbox 360s, anything like that, but you also require a memory unit, an actual 360 memory unit, the things that were used on the fat models of the system to boot this up, and you can actually boot this up on a stock Xbox 360. Yeah, no, you heard that right. You don't need a flash system or a JTAG or reset glitch or anything like that. No, you could actually use this on a new system. So recently I got some memory units for quite cheap or free, and I wanted to try this out on here. So I had some time and we decided to try it out. So let's go ahead and check this out. So first off, you're seeing some footage of me on my trusty RJTAG. What I did is, because this is a memory unit and I didn't feel like going out and buying an adapter for my PC, because I really didn't need to, because I have a modified system right here, what I did was I obtained the manufacturing mode files that would be needed for this. Now, I'm not going to be supplying a download link, but trust me, they are easily findable online. They're pretty much everywhere there, and in order to boot these up, you will need a Xbox 360 memory unit. You can't use a flash drive or a disk or anything like that. You will need a memory unit, and you will also need a way to transfer files to the memory unit, unless you have a hard modded system like a JTAG or a reset glitch system. From there, you could just boot up the file directly. But if you want to use this on a stock system, you have to have a memory unit. So that means if you have a Slim, you cannot use this. Now, before we get completely into this, some people might be asking, if this is useless, what exactly are you doing it for, and what is manufacturing mode? Well, I'm doing this because I have interests in stuff like this. It just seemed interesting to me. I want to try it out, and manufacturing mode is really what it kind of intends the title to be. It is something that is used internally at Microsoft that, I would assume they would use when they are bench testing Xbox 360s. They're about to go out, perhaps they're being repaired or refurbished, anything like that, and it just allows them to boot into a custom type of service mode that is only available at the facilities there, and they'll have, a few extra features, and it will just make it a lot easier for them to test out things on the Xbox. You all will see everything right here. So the install of this is quite easy as well too. If you want to do it from the memory unit, all you need to do is you need to get the file itself, which will have a default.xex and a autorun file, and you take those and you copy them to the root of the memory unit, and that's it, you're done. After that, you plug the memory unit into an Xbox 360, turn it on, and you're set to go into that mode. Now, all you need to do right here is make sure your memory unit is in your system, turn it on, and after the 360 logo comes up, you're going to see it auto-select a few things, and then it's going to try and set manufacturing mode. After this, it airs out. The reason why it does that is because it needs to call out to a server, which I do not have access to, and no one else does unless you are internally available at Microsoft in a specific area. They are, of course, tailored to the Xbox 360 to access a server that will then allow you to access manufacturing mode on here. This is just essentially a little program that is kind of a call out to another server elsewhere. Once you get bored of that, you can press the B button and it takes you back to the regular dashboard. Now, the reason why it does that is because in the autorun or auto-MCT file, it essentially has a script in there that tells it, hey, when you boot up the Xbox, go ahead and load up the default.xex file, and then when you load that up, automatically set the system to manufacturing mode. So because of that, it makes it easier for employees. If they want to, they can plug in the system, plug in this memory unit, turn it on, and after a few seconds, the system will automatically call out to the server and go into manufacturing mode. However, if you delete that autorun file that was available, you can actually explore the default.xex, which we will now do here. Now that we have the default.xex only booting up without any autorun, let's go ahead and see what happens. When it boots up right here, it doesn't do anything automatically. In fact, you're free to do whatever you want to. Now, the first thing I tried doing was opening up the guide, and as you can see, the guide is not available. You can only go back, or select turn off console, or go to your dashboard, which all those are pretty self-explanatory. So because that was pretty useless, we're going to go ahead and restart that. Now again, trying it out a second time before I actually delve into it. Again, as I said, this is just the default.xex alone. If you hit the B button, which would be exit right here, it does not shut off the system, it just takes you back to the dashboard right here. Now that we've tried out those exit features, we can actually try out the rest of the features on this program. Now, if you go into set manufacturing mode, there is an override live enforcement option. This option got a lot of people excited because they thought that all of a sudden, they could take their JTAGs online and be unbannable on even retail systems as well too, and there's a factory challenge that tries to load up right here. Unfortunately, again, as I said, this is completely useless because without access to the servers that are available for this program, you cannot do anything like that. Now, going back there as well too, I tried turning on manufacturing mode, which we do not have complete access to right here. We can try and set manufacturing mode, but what it's doing is it's trying to call out to a server, which will then give it the necessary files and permissions to put this system into manufacturing mode, which is essentially be a service mode where I could go in and really, change, modify anything like that on the system. From here, we're going to try and do a screening test, which has three things. So first off, I'm trying the optical disk drive test, which allows you to open and close the disk tray if you have a DVD drive on your system. It also allows you to detect a optical disk drive as well too. So it really doesn't do anything fancy here. And the detect, I believe all that does is it really just pings your drive and makes sure that you do have a drive connected there. You could also test and see if your drive is working as well too, using the optical disk drive read option, where then you could pop in a disk and hit the read option, and it essentially tries to read it and see if there's a game available or anything like that. I was using a Xbox 360 of mine that has a bit of a dodgy drive in there, so it took a little bit of time to actually try it out, but it was able to read successfully, and when it does that, you get a little successful message right there. Now next up, we'll go ahead and try a hard drive test right here, which gives you two options, detect and read. Detect, it just pings your hard drive, make sure you have a hard drive on your system, and then for reading, it really does the same thing, it doesn't test it or anything like that. Next up, we do have some interaction with an audio test. I'll go ahead and shut up for this. Now finally, the last thing we have to do is cleanup, which here we have the option to reset the console to factory settings or reset the hard drive on the system, which I try both options on here with the 20 gig hard drive that I have. Now both of them give me an error, however with the hard drive it does partially wipe it. I notice it removed the profile I had on there and any game saves or games aside from Hexic HD, but it did keep the themes and videos that were on there. As for the actual system itself, when I did reset factory settings on there, it brought up an error again. However, as you can see right here, when I exited out of the program, it did in fact restore the system to factory default settings. So those two do work. Now I'm going to safely assume that the reason why it selectively wipes the hard drive like that is so it can get rid of any type of customer profiles or game saves that have sensitive information. However, the videos might have licensing that are different and themes and all that, which don't have anything that tie directly to accounts most of the time. So I think those were okay, but they didn't want to share, of course, profiles or anything like that that have sensitive customer information. Now that we've explored everything on here, what exactly is the use of this? So let's say you're repairing Xbox 360s, you're over at Microsoft or a affiliated company that works with them in repairing them, and you're about to send an Xbox back to a customer to test it out, to do the final testing stages and all that. Instead of going through all the settings and all that stuff to find everything, you can easily plug in the system to your test bench, put in this memory unit, and from there you're able to detect any type of issues to see if it's reading the optical disk drive, the hard drive to see if it's detecting anything like that, reset the settings on there, and then go into manufacturing mode and change anything in the settings of the actual console if you need to. So that way you can do a bunch of underlying work, but also the overlaying stuff, for example, making sure that the system is completely factory reset before it leaves the place. You can do that quite easily. You don't have to go go through all the settings and all that. Some people might say that this is useless. Well, for us, it's useless. For people who are repairing the system, this makes their job a lot easier, especially when they're dealing with so many consoles per day. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this look into this little program right here. As I said, it's pretty useless for us, but I want to show you all a in-depth overview with this, and if we had access to any type of server, that would be awesome, but that's definitely not going to happen, especially since this program, as you can see with everything, is really outdated. I mean, it says version 2.0, and even the dashboard version that it's showing on there is quite old. However, the cool thing I noticed was, and what I was impressed with was, this still works with the latest dashboards on the Xbox 360 Fat, and this is an actual service mode that is put in there. Like, it was not patched or anything like that. I don't know if this is still actively used, but it is still actively available on these consoles. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone.